Life cycles based on the evolutionary approach. Iterative. Iterative development is a method where the overall project is composed of several smaller time-boxed developments, called iterations, and each iteration is a self-contained mini-project composed of activities such as requirements, design, development and testing. Requirements are elicited during each iteration, and in doing this the understanding of the overall project evolves as the requirements evolve. A standard minimum of 3 iterations would usually be required to achieve an external release. These iterations would consist of investigate. This initial iteration is used to investigate things such as risks around user functionality, and results in more understanding about what is required to deliver the external iteration or first release. Refine. There are usually multiple refinement iterations, to which the requirements are fully detailed and designed and the system is developed to meet the business goal. Consolidate. This is the final iteration prior to external release, and it ensures that the code and design developed is stabilized and fully integrated with any other components/iterations so that the overall business goal is achieved in the working system. Strengths. Cost. A great model for prototyping. Iterative development is good where the problems or solutions are not clear at the beginning, or where the business doesn't know yet if it wants to fund the project, as the early iterations can provide clarity over what is feasible and the resulting cost. Costs can easily be controlled as activities such as requirements, design, development, and testing are recreated every iteration. Flexibility for change. Change is easier to manage as requirements are not locked down. Weaknesses. Cost. Poor management can lead to increased costs, as evolving requirements can result in scope creep. Overall costs can be higher due to the additional integration and tests across multiple teams and iterations. Management can be hard to manage due to multiple iterations or multiple iteration teams. Spiral. The spiral model is a software development lifecycle model which provides support for risk handling by combining iterative development with prototyping, to test and evolve the requirements so that risks can be addressed throughout. The exact number of loops of the spiral can vary from project to project. Each loop of the spiral is called a phase of the software development process. There are 4 main phases. 1. Determine objectives. Requirements are gathered. In this first stage, the development team and business owners identify the objectives for development and agree prioritization of requirements. Throughout the project this is constantly reviewed and revisited. 2. Identify and resolve risks. Risks are identified, as are alternatives, and a prototype built. In this stage the developers explore technical possibilities to meet the business goal and assess any risks they may bring. 3. Develop and test. Software is produced and tested. The initial prototype is reviewed to assess how well requirements were met, designs are then developed and agreed and another prototype built. After a few iterations an operational prototype will be produced. 4. Plan next iteration. Output of project thus far is evaluated, and next steps are made. In this stage the working system is released into the live operational environment. If this is an incremental release, further releases will be planned until the complete system is developed. Strengths. Deliverables. Software is produced early in the life cycle. Change and flexibility. Due to the iterative nature, functionality can be added later and requirements can evolve easily. Low risk. Extensive risk assessment ensures that the project less likely to fail. Weaknesses. Cost. Poor management can lead to increased costs, as evolving requirements can result in scope creep. Documentation. As the focus is on a working system, documentation of said system can become deprioritized, which can result in the system being harder to maintain post-project. What is Agile? Agile software development refers to a group of software development methodologies based on iterative development, following the Agile Manifesto from 2001. The Agile Manifesto states, "We are uncovering better ways of developing software by doing it and helping others to do it. Through this work we have come to value individuals and interactions over process and tools, working software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, responding to change over following a plan. That is, while there is value in the items on the right, we value the items on the left more. https://agilemanifesto.org/ This section reviews some of the more popular Agile life cycles, which are often hybrid approaches of the methodologies previously discussed. Below are some of the generic strengths and weaknesses Agile methodologies have. Generic strengths. Flexibility. Agile approaches are best suited for a relatively uncertain environment where it is difficult to accurately define the requirements and design for the solution in detail prior to the start of the project. The requirements and design are able to change as the project progresses. Cost. Agile approaches significantly reduce overhead from reducing unnecessary documentation and control requirements. As the projects are typically handled incrementally or iteratively, cost can be managed as requirements are discovered and developed. Product meeting needs. An Agile approach should result in a higher customer satisfaction because the customer is heavily involved throughout the development by providing feedback and inputs. Deliverables. An Agile approach typically results in faster time to market due to shorter startup times, and software being produced early in the life cycle. Generic weaknesses. Scalability. It can be difficult to scale an Agile approach to larger complex projects. Organizational structure. An Agile approach may require some level of organizational transformation to the business structure to make it successful, as they tend to require the business users to work collaboratively with the development team, and that requires breaking down some organizational barriers, silo breaking. Training and skills. An Agile approach requires a considerable amount of training and skill to implement successfully.